A rat is let loose in a lab and gets trapped in a cage. It looks for food when an invisible force grabs it and eats it. Sebastian is at his computer working on a chemical formula and runs a test that fails. He secretly watches his neighbor take off her clothes and feels disappointed when she closes the curtains. Soon after, he gets an idea and changes the chemical formula, running a new test. This time, the test shows that the element is stable. Sebastian calls Linda to tell her the good news. When he sees a man sleeping in her bed, she tells him it's none of his business anymore. He shows Linda that he figured out the chemical solution for reversion. She is impressed that he figured it out unexpectedly. Linda wakes Matt up to tell him they need to go to the lab. She says they should take their own cars, but Matt thinks she should tell Sebastian about them at the right moment. That morning, Sebastian arrives at the lab in a tightly guarded area. He scans his fingerprint to get into an elevator and says his password. Inside the lab, invisible animals can only be seen using thermal imaging. Matt pets an orangutan and greets a gorilla named Isabel. All the animals get scared when she jumps at the cage. He puts on thermal goggles to see her better and calms her down. When he goes inside to give her a sedative, she bites him and runs away. Matt chases her through the lab and runs into Sebastian, telling him that she has been more aggressive. Isabel has been invisible for too long, affecting her mind. Sebastian takes a tranquilizer gun and bets Matt on who will catch her first. They find and trap her, and Sebastian tranquilizes her. Sarah approaches them angrily and argues with Sebastian about giving Isabel the serum before testing it. She believes it is unethical, but he thinks it will save time and ignores her concerns. Linda joins them and reminds Sebastian that he hired Sarah because she is the best vet in the country. Later, Linda is preparing the serum and tells Sebastian she will be ready soon. Sarah reports that the gorilla is doing well, and Carter walks in, stating that he is just the medical standby. Frank calls in from tech, saying they are ready as well. Linda locks the serum into an injection gun while Matt gets it ready. Sarah looks for a vein in Isabel's arm and, once she finds one, Sebastian takes the gun from Matt, insisting he will do it. He injects the serum, and they can see it moving through her veins and body. Her heartbeat increases. The gorilla's body starts becoming visible, and they are pleased that the serum is working. Suddenly, she gets worse and goes into cardiac arrest. Isabel's heart stops, so Linda uses a defibrillator to revive her, repeatedly shocking her until her heart begins to beat again. As Isabel stabilizes, her body becomes fully visible. Tech informs them that her quantum signatures are now stable. Everyone celebrates their success, and Sarah believes Isabel will be okay. Later, they all take Isabel back to her cell together. Sebastian tells Sarah to get her ready for a vivisection on Monday. When she gets very angry, Matt convinces her he was just joking. And maybe he was, sort of. Linda jumps in and suggests they celebrate their success. They go to a restaurant to celebrate. Later, Linda and Sebastian talk heart to heart because he wants to get back together with her. She turns him down. He goes back to the lab to check on Isabel. There is also an invisible dog there, which he pets, asking it what it's like to be invisible. Some time later, Sebastian presents their findings to a Pentagon committee. Dr. Kramer asks Sebastian how they solved the problem of reversion, and he lies, saying they haven't solved it. Surprising Linda and Matt, Kramer demands results soon and states that if they cannot make it work, he will find someone else to replace Sebastian. Linda and Matt are angry with him, but Sebastian explains that if they reported their findings, the Pentagon would take control of their project entirely. His idea for their next step is to try human trials without permission. Sebastian tells them this is their chance to change the world and win the Nobel Prize. Matt worries they will get in trouble. Later, they share the plan with their team, but nobody likes it. Sebastian tries to persuade them, but Sarah cannot believe the committee approved it. Sebastian disregards their opinions and insists they will proceed anyway. On the day of the procedure, Matt tells Sebastian he can still change his mind, but Sebastian just mocks him. They go inside, and Sebastian lies down on a bed while the others connect him to an N4 and strap him down. He says he feels tense and that his heart rate is racing because of it. Frank and Janice argue over who will get Sebastian's Porsche if he dies. They prepare the serum and bring it to Sebastian, who insists on injecting it himself to avoid blame if things go wrong. He injects the serum, and Linda calls out the moment. Everyone starts to panic when they don't see anything happening to his body right away. Suddenly, Sebastian starts to feel something. He begins to shake, and the process of becoming invisible starts happening in patches on his body. Sebastian cries out that it hurts more than he expected. Frank tells them he's on the brink of a seizure. As he becomes invisible, his vital signs grow even more unstable. They prepare the defibrillator, and Frank tells them Sebastian is starting to shift, so Matt says to hold off on the paddles. They all watch him change as his vital signs stabilize. When he becomes completely invisible, Frank announces that the moment of phase shift has occurred. Matt says he's fine but is in shock from the experience. 17 hours later, Sebastian wakes up screaming in pain, begging Linda and Matt to turn off the lights. He says he cannot close his eyes, and Linda tells him he can but that his eyelids are now clear. Sebastian gets up and looks in the mirror, and then the three of them move to the common area of the lab. He starts playing tricks on everyone until Frank puts on a pair of goggles and sees him. Matt and Linda take him back to his room and turn on the observation monitor while Sarah is doing the same in another room. She takes the last shift while Carter will take the next one. Sarah turns off the lights, and soon she falls asleep. Sebastian walks through the lab and enters the observation room, starting to touch Sarah while she sleeps. She wakes up and asks if he's there, then checks the monitors, but when she turns around, he quickly gets back into bed. The next day, she tells Linda what happened, but she feels unsure if it really happened and feels awful. Linda doesn't know what to do either, while Matt wants to talk to Sebastian, but Sarah tells him not to. Later, Matt checks Sebastian's vitals and asks him questions like it's protocol. The results show everything is normal. Sarah removes the medical device from him, making him feel even more uneasy. Frank and Janice enter the lab, and Sarah heads to the restroom, but she feels like someone is watching. She puts on the thermal goggles to feel safe. She tells Carter the same thing after lunch. The team discusses Sebastian and the trouble he could cause now that he's invisible. They all agree he probably won't do anything good. Once they leave the kitchen, a chair that seemed empty turns around. Sebastian was eavesdropping the whole time. That night, it's Linda's turn to be in the lab. She is working on the serum when Sebastian starts playing tricks on her as well, shifting her soda can around the lab. He gives her a massage and suggests it might be interesting to make love with an invisible man for his last night of invisibility. She rejects his advances. The next day, Matt and Carter prepare the serum to turn him back visible. Linda sprays his arm so they can see his veins. They inject him, and just like with Isabel before, his body starts to show up. When more of his organs begin appearing, he gasps that something feels wrong and starts to choke. His vital signs become unstable. Sarah realizes his lungs have stopped working and tells Carter to intubate him. Sebastian breaks free from his restraints, and the men struggle to hold him down. He pushes Carter away with a powerful force and kicks Matt off himself, standing up and looking confused as parts of his body appear and disappear again. Sarah and Linda manage to intubate him before he becomes invisible again, while Matt tries to pump his heart. They get a pulse, but he goes into shock as he vanishes again. Later, Sebastian wakes up with Linda by his side. She tells him he almost died. He insists the committee doesn't need to know what really happened. Since he will be stuck in this state for a while, they create a synthetic mask for him. Linda carefully cuts a slit for his mouth and 2 holes for his eyes while the mask is still on him. Matt gives him a mirror to see himself. They need to figure out what went wrong. Linda and Matt try to work from home but can't discover the formula for the reversion serum. Sebastian complains that he isn't a genius like Sebastian, who could jump to conclusions. 10 days later, Sebastian becomes physically and mentally ill from all the testing. He argues with Matt about it, and Linda comforts him. Sebastian says they aren't doing enough for him. That night, he decides he can no longer stay, so he tells Carter he wants to leave. Carter tries to stop him because the rules prevent it. Sebastian insists it's his rule, and he can change it. He leaves, promising he'll come back in a few hours. Carter calls Linda to inform her. Sebastian avoids the police guard outside, who is starting to worry that his vehicle hasn't moved in a while, and drives out of the area. He stops at a stoplight and scares some kids. Linda and Matt leave their home to return to the lab, and she tells him Sebastian could be anywhere. Sebastian enters his apartment and grabs some belongings to take back to the lab. He then sees his neighbor undressing again. Moments later, she is in the shower when her doorbell rings. She sees nobody in the hallway, but it rings again, so she opens the door and steps outside, leaving a chance for Sebastian to slip in. He follows her to her room and watches her. He starts moving her mirror, which frightens her. Sebastian grabs her and assaults her. Meanwhile, Linda is searching for him in his apartment. The door is unlocked, so she goes inside and notices he left his mask behind. Sebastian leaves his neighbor crying and sees that Linda is now in his apartment. Back at the lab, everyone gears up to search for him. They pass equipment around and discuss that no one outside their team must find out what he is. Suddenly, Sebastian shows up, claiming he just went to his apartment to grab some things. Linda confronts him about what she saw and Matt questions why he had to go out in public. Sebastian tells them he is still the project leader, and it's his decision. Linda warns him that she will report him to the committee if he leaves the lab again. After everyone else leaves, Sarah discovers from Linda that the committee does not know what they've done but promises to keep quiet. Linda and Matt suspect Sebastian's invisibility is starting to affect his mind. The next day, Carter performs tests on Sebastian, chatting about what he did the previous night. Sebastian doesn't fully reveal what happened but twists the story to get Carter to react positively. That night, while Linda is sleeping, Sebastian pulls her covers off and starts undressing her. Suddenly, her phone rings, waking her up from the nightmare. Matt tells her he thinks he found a solution. Next, they are back in the lab explaining it to Sebastian and the team. They run a simulation, but it only goes to 95% before breaking down. This sends Sebastian into a fit of anger and he storms out. Linda goes after him and confronts him about how he's treating Matt, saying he's trying to fix the issue. Sebastian argues he has a gift that he cannot even use and believes she is being short-sighted by not letting him explore it. Later, he comes up with an idea involving the security camera and tells Frank he will stay in the lab. He gathers some tools and rigs the camera to look like he's there. Afterward, he sneaks to Linda's apartment to spy on her. When Matt walks in, Sebastian gets angry, and when they go into the other room to make love, he breaks the window. Matt doesn't see anything, so Linda calls the lab to check if Sebastian is there. Frank sees him on the rigged camera. Back in the lab, Sebastian is furious about what Linda is doing. The dog barks incessantly, worsening his mood, so he goes to the cage and brutally kills it. Sarah finds the dog the next day. She immediately confronts Sebastian about it, but he brushes her off. They check the security footage, which shows him in bed all night. Later, Linda is in her room and feels Sebastian's presence. She insists he's not being funny and throws a blanket over where she thinks he is. Scared, she runs out of her apartment and into her car. Linda drives to the lab. Matt tells her that Sebastian is asleep, as shown on the monitor, but she still checks his room. She realizes he's gone and suspects he did something to the camera. Linda calls everyone back to the lab. Sebastian is outside, and Janice asks if they should go after him, but Linda wants to inform the committee first. Matt expresses concern because Sebastian has been going out at night, and they don't know what he's been doing. Linda tells the rest that she and Matt will take full responsibility in front of the committee. Sebastian is listening closely to what they are saying. As they leave, Matt mentions that they'll brief the team the following day. Later, they are at Kramer's house when Sebastian spies on them from outside. Kramer says he will contact all the necessary people while sending Linda and Matt out the door, telling them to gather their belongings. Kramer goes to make the call, but the phone line is dead. He hears a noise and goes outside. Sebastian emerges from the smoke rising from his pipe, then pushes Kramer into the pool and drowns him viciously. Sebastian emerges from the pool just before Kramer's wife comes down to check on him. The next day, Linda returns to the lab and Sebastian scares her. He says it is going to be a busy day. Matt informs her that Sebastian came back at 3 a.m. and has been wandering the lab since. Kramer hasn't called back, so Linda tries calling him. His wife tells her he drowned. Linda tries calling one of the generals, but the phone drops. Matt checks the phone and realizes they have no outside line. They head to report the issue to security. In the elevator, their passwords do not work. They go back to inform the others. Frank checks the security system and finds nothing wrong, realizing instead that Sebastian has blocked all their access. They grab their goggles and decide to leave, except for Janice, who forgets hers and returns for them. As soon as she exits the door, Sebastian kills her. The others search for him in his room. Linda asks him to reveal himself. Sebastian tells her he can't let them turn him in because he loves his newfound power too much. He reveals Kramer died before he could inform anyone. Linda notices that Janice is missing, and they rush to find her. They discover her dead body in a locker. Carter believes that Sebastian has lost his mind, but Matt thinks he orchestrated everything because he knew they would turn him in. Sarah slaps Linda angrily, yelling that she could have stopped the experiment at any moment. Frank agrees with her. Carter is just worried about what to do next. Linda insists they're not going to wait around for help. They power up the motion detectors and see Sebastian on the monitor. Matt and Carter go to find him, while the others stay on guard. The two split up as Frank and Sarah return. Linda loses him on the monitors, and Matt almost accidentally shoots Carter. They think they see Sebastian, and when Matt goes to confront him, it turns out to be just a vent. Sebastian attacks Carter, and when Matt turns around to shoot, he accidentally hits a pipe. Sebastian becomes visible in the vapor, so Matt shoots him again. He lets go of Carter, injuring him badly. Linda warns Matt that Sebastian is near, so he fires at the pipes again, making Sebastian visible, but he escapes and locks Matt in a tunnel. However, Sebastian stays on Matt's side of the door and raises the heat, making him invisible to Matt again. Linda goes out to help Matt and tells the others to take care of Carter. Matt uses another method to locate Sebastian and they begin arguing about Linda before Matt punches him. Just as Sebastian knocks Matt down, Linda intervenes to save him. Meanwhile, Sarah and Frank find Carter. She leaves Frank to apply pressure to Carter's wound until she can get blood for a transfusion. Sarah retrieves bags of blood from the lab but hears Sebastian come inside. She spills the blood on the ground to try and reveal him and waits. When he doesn't appear, she grabs the last pack and heads to the other door when he suddenly grabs her from the opposite side of the room. She opens the blood pack and pours it on him, but he quickly overpowers her and shoots her with a tranquilizer gun, then breaks her neck. Simultaneously, Linda and Matt find Frank just as Carter dies. They return to the lab where Linda finds Sarah. Sebastian then kills Frank when he isn't watching. He injures Matt as well and locks Linda and Matt in the freezer. Linda uses duct tape to close Matt's wounds. Meanwhile, Sebastian is preparing to finally escape. Matt starts to lose consciousness, and Linda plans how to break out of the freezer. While she does this, Sebastian makes a bomb with his concoction and sets it to explode in 5 minutes. He throws it like a grenade to check it. Linda creates a magnet with the defibrillator and pulls the lever to open the freezer door. She gets Matt outside and lights a fire to warm him up. Before she leaves, Linda takes a gas tank. At the same time, Sebastian finishes the bomb and puts the mixture into a lab device, which he also sets for 5 minutes. As he walks into the elevator, Linda catches up with him and sets him on fire. She continues, but he tries to remove his clothes before they stick to his skin. Linda loses gas from the tank, and Sebastian manages to escape. Then, she activates the sprinkler system. He sneaks up on her and attacks her, attempting to kill her. Suddenly, Matt comes back and knocks Sebastian out. Sebastian is still alive, though, and attacks them again but accidentally electrocutes himself. For a moment, his body begins to show up. They discover the bomb, so they quickly run into the elevator shaft. Matt goes up first, and Linda follows him. The bomb explodes, shooting the elevator up the shaft. They manage to hide in time, but it comes back down and stops just above them. They keep climbing when Sebastian grabs Linda. They struggle and fall back onto the elevator, making it plummet down. Linda and Sebastian fight, and when he kisses her, she grabs the cable and releases the elevator. Sebastian falls into the fire, and Linda climbs up to Matt. The two of them walk out of the lab, alive.